JJK Modulo Chapter 12 spoilers are here, and this chapter is insane. Like, let's just get straight into it. Okay, first of all, for anyone new here, with these spoilers like this, that means we are dealing with incredibly rough translations, which means I'm just going to be giving the general overview of what appears to be going on in this chapter, but then on Sunday, when we get the official release, we will be doing our page-by-page, panel-by-panel breakdown, so be sure to come back for that. But for now, Chapter 12 picks up in the immediate aftermath where we left off in Chapter 11, which was Elder Boro here, chasing down Oski and saying, like, the Japanese people, they are killing Kalyans. I saw them brutally murder them, and his eye is crying. So the chapter begins with Usami, Mino, Jabaloma, and Cross basically all discussing this development, and Usami and Mino are like, we're investigating what's going on here. And they're like, we have sorcerers arriving on site to see what's going on. And they say, yeah, there must have been some kind of mistake here because there are certainly no Kalyan living on Earth. Jabaloma and Cross are like, well, they claim to have witnessed someone murdering a Kalyan in Tokyo. And they're like, yes, plus our surveillance has confirmed the presence of Kalyan here. And Usami is just like confused at this. We then transition to Yuka, Tsurugi, and Maru, and there is a ton of dialogue here. So again, with rough translations, we just have a general idea of what's going on here, but essentially the three of them are like at a shrine, like a Jujutsu shrine, like the same one that, Sukuna's finger was in. Now, I don't know if this is meant to be like literally that same one that Yuji put Sukuna's finger in at the end of the series. It's kind of hard to tell. It's also been 80 years, so maybe it is, but we see Yuka go and open this, and inside is this like enormous like orb, this like ball that is just covered in different Jujutsu seals and messages. And some of the messages are like, thanks for coming to pay your respects. Another one says like, this is the egg of a vengeful spirit and it has signs of awakening, so be careful. And Maru's like, oh, like what does that mean? And Tsurugi's like, oh, they didn't teach you this, did they? And Yuka's like, I've only ever heard rumors of stuff like this. And Maru's like, really? And Yuka says, I heard it from a curse user who was in Tokyo. Apparently the flow of cursed energy around here has been like super disturbed lately. And Tsurugi's like, well, it's a good thing we're doing maintenance today then. And so it's just like that kind of conversation apparently, but whatever it is, it's kind of making Yuka, at the very least, a bit uneasy and nervous. And she's like, I'm kind of worried. Like, things haven't been normal. And if this kind of weirdness keeps happening and increasing, we might really need to start preparing some countermeasures. So, essentially, this scene, a lot of talking, but they're, like, investigating a shrine. And maybe it's the Sukuna shrine, but again, really hard to tell. Actually, here's what I'll say. It's absolutely not this. Like, it's not that exact box. But again, this was 80 years ago, right? So maybe it has just been moved from that exact location. But again, there's really nothing in the scene that makes you think that this is that final finger or anything. It's just something that's wrapped in a bunch of Jujutsu seals in a similar looking shrine. We then cut to a double spread of Tokyo, and this is an insane shot. It's kind of buildings like this, but we're much closer to the buildings, and everywhere in this double spread is cursed spirits. Like, they are just overwhelming this portion of Tokyo. And then we see Usami and a young woman, I believe. I don't think we've been introduced to her yet, but it's a woman that's wielding a sword. And we see Usami, like, with a pistol, just shooting a cursed spirit on the ground. And he says, 10 points. We then just cut to two sorcerers I don't think we've ever seen before. One is a swordsman and one has like a gun. So that's why I've chosen Miwa and Mai here. But I believe the swordsman is a woman and the gun wielder is definitely a guy. And we see that they're going through Tokyo and the gun wielder actually shoots one of the cursed spirits with his gun and he's like, 10 points. And we basically just see these two sorcerers. They've presumably been sent by Usami to investigate this. And we see that as they're following kind of through Tokyo, trying to see what's going on, they eventually open a door, and inside they see a Samorian. And I think it's Oski, the same Samorian we've seen from the past couple of chapters. And he's just like in this dark room with one of these cursed spirits, and the cursed spirit is licking his face like a dog. And the two sorcerers are like, what's happening? From here on out, just a lot happens, and there is so much dialogue. So again, with these rough translations, it's hard to piece together the nuance of what's going on. But what appears to be happening is that information is basically immediately relayed back to Usami, like, hey, we found Simorians here in Tokyo with the cursed spirits. And so basically it's all hands on deck. Mino and Usami are talking to Jabaloma and Cross, and they're like, we got to get down there. We might have an incident on our hands. Like, humans just encountered Simurians, cursed spirits / Kalyans might be in the middle of it. Like, we have a problem on our hands. So we basically see all of them make their way to Tokyo, to this location. But meanwhile, we have, Miwa and Mai, whoever those sorcerers are, kind of like getting into a heated argument with these Simorians where they're discussing, like, this is a cursed spirit. And he's like, no, man, this is a Kalyan. What are you doing? And it's like that whole conflict really heating up. As this is happening, we do have another page cut away to Yuka, Tsurugi, and Maru, who are just like kind of in their own world, unaware that any of that is happening. And they seem to still be investigating whatever was going on with that shrine. It appears they're like talking about like maybe they had just dealt with a curse. Like it kind of seems like it's one of those bits where like we're just checking in with them after they've kind of just had some hijinks. But again, it's hard to tell. And they're basically just talking about the same kind of stuff. We then cut back to this crew and we see that the gun-wielding sorcerer basically has his gun pointed at one of the Simorians. And that's when Usami and Cross and all of them show up. And Usami uses his cursed speech and he's like, chill, like everybody calm the hell down. And we see that like Cross gets in front of the Simurians and he's kind of like shouting at them. Usami is kind of shouting at the humans, and they're trying to get a grip on this. And it appears as if Cross is like defending the humans, being like, these aren't Kalyans, like these are cursed spirits. Meanwhile, Oski and the Simurians are like, no man, they're Kalyans. And it appears as if Oski is even pointing to his third eye, which might be crying, maybe due to the cursed spirits that the gun-wielding sorcerer has killed. It's kind of hard to tell, but again, they are just like heated arguing about this stuff right now. Basically, Usami, Cross, and Jabaloma are trying to de-escalate the situation, and it appears as if Cross is maybe starting to get through to Oski. Like, again, it's not really clear what exactly he's saying, but it seems as if tensions are maybe lowering a bit. And we see Oski kind of like, calm a little bit. And we see Cross start to reach into his jacket. And when Cross does that, the gun-wielding sorcerer freaks out. We then once again cut back to Yuka, Tsurugi, and Maru. And again, they're just like yapping as they're all walking home. And it's very like lighthearted. They've had their nice little side quest mission, and now they're all parting ways, going their different ways. They're all smiles and having a good time. It's like a very jarring switch between the heated exchange and their like, slice of life moment. We then cut back to Cross and we see that he is just riddled with bullet holes. The gun sorcerer has apparently just been freaked out when he saw Cross reach for something and he shot him. He's got like a big hole in his chest, and it appears as if like another one in his stomach area, and Cross is just like wide-eyed. All three of his eyes, he's like shocked, and like there's like just a moment of silence, and then everyone starts to freak the hell out. Like Oski starts yelling, the humans start yelling, like everyone is losing it. The swordsman like reaches for their sword. Usami lifts up his hand for cursed speech. Like everyone knows things are about to go down, and then everyone just stops and like shudders in fear. And that's when we see that Dabura has arrived on the scene and basically has stopped everyone in their tracks, and that's where the chapter ends. Absolutely insane chapter. Now, obviously, there are a ton of finer details that we are missing here, but in terms of the grand strokes, like this conflict between the humans and Simorians reached a boiling point surrounding these cursed spirits, which is something I just put out a couple of videos on this past week, like, are Kalyan's cursed spirits? And there doesn't seem to be a consensus even reached in this chapter, but if those are cursed spirits in Tokyo, then even Earth cursed spirits have a weird relationships with Simurians, because again, that one was like licking Oski's face like a dog. So yeah, this is bad. Cross is holy right now. So I don't know what that dude's sorcery is, if that's a normal gun. Like, it must not be. So like, damn, I don't know, man. If we end up getting like some really good translations before Sunday, then maybe I'll make another video, like, filling in some of the blanks here. But otherwise, absolutely on Sunday, we'll be doing a real good breakdown on this chapter. But in the meantime, I guess, let me know y'all's thoughts. And as always, thank you for watching.